It's showtime, folks!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Swiss Knife. It is time. We are almost there. We are almost to the granddaddy of them all, WrestleMania. It has been a lackluster build so far, but I'm still very excited for WrestleMania as I'm excited for Super Bowl of wrestling every year. So with that said, let's not waste any more time. Let's get into these predictions. First, starting off with the Tag Team Diva match. We have Natalya Paige, Alicia Fox, Eva Marie, and Brie Bella on one side versus the team of Lana, Tamina, Naomi, Emma, and Summer Rae. The build to this hasn't been all that great. I mean, there hasn't been much consistency with it. I mean, on one end we got Lana that's feuding with Brie Bella. I mean, they haven't really even given us a reason as to why they've been feuding, but hey, they hate each other, so let's go with it. And the rest of the Divas have been mixed in together in feuds in matches, so at least I can respect that. They've at least has matches against each other. But I think the most confusing thing of all was last Monday when Eva Marie kind of came out of nowhere and kind of saved the day, so to say, for the faces. And it just came off as awkward because, look, Brooklyn, and that's New York. That's a smart crowd. They still hate Eva Marie. And, like, WWE, I guess they just didn't realize that their crowds are smart and that they know that Eva Marie is one of the more hated people in NXT. And I guess they thought that she'd still get a good response, and, well, she didn't. So that came off as awkward, but looking at this match, I mean, if they give them enough time, it could be a fun little match. And we have enough talented workers in that ring. Natalya Paige, Emma, Naomi, Summer Rae can go some. But we have enough talented workers in there to where it can be a pretty interesting match. So I'm looking forward to it, and I think that the faces will ultimately win this match, and it'll be the very first match to get everybody ready for the rest of the show. Looking at the next match, we have the Usos versus the Dudley Boyz, and this was another one in which, I mean, they didn't even really have a solid build to it or a reason for feuding. It's just one Raw I looked up and the Dudley Boyz hated the Usos for like no reason at all. But now they hate each other, so once again, let's go with it. The build so far, I mean, once they established that they hate each other, it made sense afterwards, and we've got some pretty decent moments. I like the fact that the Usos have been putting people through tables, Dudley style. And I like the fact that the Dudley Boyz have been given some pretty decent heel promos, Bubba Ray in particular, in which they've announced that they won't be using tables anymore. They're doing a lot of things to tick off the crowd, and I really like what they've been doing. As for Sunday, I'm gonna go with the faces again. In this match, I think we could have a really good match. In my opinion, I think this is going to be the best kickoff match of the show. In my opinion, it might as well be the main event of the kickoff matches, for lack of a better word. But I think they're going to have an excellent match to get the fans excited. And I think the Usos will prevail in the end, and they will go on to feud back with the New Day, in my opinion, down the line, which is it's been a kind of a tired feud, but since they've been away from each other, maybe they can find that spark again after Mania. Moving on to the final kickoff match, we have Callisto versus Ryback for the United States Championship. I've been a big fan of Callisto lately. I haven't liked that they've kind of just not put a whole lot into this feud with Ryback, but I like Callisto. He's a very hard worker. He's exciting, and he excites the crowd. As for this feud, and this is going to be the running theme of this prediction show. I mean, the build, it's been, lackluster. We have Ryback, but it's been lackluster, but at least it's made sense. I'll give him that. We have Ryback, and the biggest selling point of the feud is that size matters, and that you little guy can't beat me big guy. And that's the selling point of the feud, not the fact that I'm coming for your United States Championship, which is what should be the selling point of the feud. No, the size matters. This is what's the selling point of the feud, and I like Ryback. I think WWE missed the ball on him a couple of times, but I think we could get a pretty good match here. I think Callisto can pull a really good match out of Ryback if he leads the dance, for lack of a better word. For the result, this one is a tough one. This one is a tough one. I think I'm gonna go with Callisto to retain here, and that's a tough one, but I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna stick with Callisto to retain here, and I think this could be a real good match, and it'll be worth watching. And it'll probably get the main event slot. It doesn't deserve to, in my opinion, but it probably will, and this will lead us into the pay-per-view. Now we're gonna move on to what I believe will be the first match of the pay-per-view. When you look at the first match of the pay-per-view, you want excitement. For example, Bret Hart versus Owen Hart at WrestleMania 10, I believe. That was an exciting first match. And that's what WWE has always going for at WrestleMania. And I think the multi-man Intercontinental title ladder match will kick off the show. Now, looking at this feud, I think I can speak for a whole lot of people when I say that Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn would have been the best Intercontinental match possible. I think that's what everyone wanted, and I think that's what everyone was hyped up for. And we're not getting it, but with all that said, here's the part that confuses me. Okay, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Dolph Ziggler, and The Miz have been intertwined in some way for quite a while now. So it makes sense for them to have a 4-way Intercontinental title ladder match. But, I mean, it doesn't make sense to just throw in Stardust, Zack Ryder, and Sin Cara. I mean, nothing against those guys, but it's like WWE just looked up one day and they realized, oh, these guys aren't on the WrestleMania card, so let's just toss them in there some way, somehow. And it all came off as kind of rushed as it came together in one night. But moving on to the match, we have the opportunity to have some really good spots. I mean, when you look at a multi-man ladder match, there's always the chance for big spot. I mean, just look at Callisto when he did the Salida del Sol. I mean, that was awesome. And I could see that something like that happen in this match. When you involve tables, or you can involve, you have two men reaching for the title, somebody gets thrown down. You can have a very exciting match, and it could be far better than what we expect. And I actually think it will be far better than what we expect. As for the winner, I'm going to go with Kevin Owens retaining. And I think that Owens is on his way to having that feud with Sami Zayn after all of this is said and done. I think we're going to get that, and we're going to get a string of matches between those guys that leads into SummerSlam, in my opinion. Moving on, we're going to look at the New Day versus the League of Nations. Looking at this build, I mean, I think that there were a ton of matches that I would have rather have seen the New Day have outside of the league, outside of feuding with the League of Nations, but this feud has been so-so at best. We've had some pretty good moments. League of Nations destroying the New Day. That was a pretty good moment as they took them out. And the New Day consistently clowning and mocking the League of Nations is just awesome every time. And specifically this past Monday in Brooklyn, I mean, the crowd was all over the New Day, and they are one of the more over acts in the entire company. And those guys are just money. They are money, from their shirts to the Booty-O's cereal to everything. But looking at this match, I think we can have a really good match here. We have some workers in this match. Everybody involved in this match can wrestle their tails off. And I mean, looking at the result, I'm gonna go with the New Day because they have too much momentum right now. They're like a snowball going downhill, and I don't think it makes much sense to have them lose at WrestleMania, at the biggest show of the year. They should go on and win here. I think we're gonna get not a really good match, but we're gonna have a good match. It's gonna be entertaining. I'd like to see what the New Day is gonna do in their entrance. They've been really hyping that up, so I'll be paying attention there. But at the end, we're gonna get a New Day victory, and we're gonna have the largest hip swivel in the history of the world. As New Day will win, and they'll go on to feud, like I said earlier, against maybe the Usos. Moving on, we have Y2J Chris Jericho versus AJ Styles. Now, this feud has been very interesting, to say the least. I think it's been kind of hurt by the fact that they've had like 4 matches already. It would have been much better if they had built to this moment, and this would have been the inevitable first dream match between Chris Jericho and AJ Styles. But with that said, here we are. And what I like is that we have a heel Chris Jericho. And when Chris Jericho first came back as a face, I just wasn't feeling it. But this heel Chris Jericho, I like. It reminds me of his run when he had the feud against Shawn Michaels, when Jericho was heel. That was a great run when he was champ. And Chris Jericho seems to have that same motivation. right now, and it's very entertaining at times. Now, I could go without the deal where they call each other's names or they mock each other's names while the other is in the match and the other loses. I think that's kind of like grade schoolish and not interesting. But with that said, I like the fact that AJ Styles is in a big time match at WrestleMania, and both of these guys have shown that they can have good matches. I think each of the 4 matches have been better each time. From 1 to 4, they've gotten better, and I think that AJ Styles makes for a great face, and this is going to be a ripe time for him to have a WrestleMania moment. And I think that in the end, AJ Styles will be victorious. Next up, we have the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. And to be quite honest, there's not a whole lot that I can say here, as the build has pretty much been Big Show and Kane versus the Social Outcast. That's been the build for the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, with the most recent Raw having various superstars come in to give it the Battle Royal feel. And that's been about it. I mean, we haven't heard a whole lot about it. There hasn't been a whole lot of build to it. But with that said, when you're looking at the Battle Royal, you're almost guaranteed to get a good match, because when it gets down to the last few people, fans are going to get invested into it, so long as they are people that are interesting. I mean, the fans will be hyped up for the finish. And I can see some new names being introduced in this match. Who knows? Maybe we get a Samoa Joe. I mean, who knows? Maybe who knows will come out. Maybe we'll get some new names that'll come out this match, have some big moments, and make it a great Memorial Battle Royal. In the end, I'm gonna go with Braun Strowman as your winner, because it just seems like that they are intent on pushing Braun Strowman as this unstoppable force, and to get him kicked off on that push, I think they're gonna use this Battle Royal, and he'll have a moment in the Battle Royal where he'll eliminate a bunch of guys and he'll look very dominant. And I could see it coming down to Strowman and the Big Show, with Strowman eliminating him for the win. Going, we have the triple threat Divas match for the Divas title. I've actually been a fan of this feud, one of the few feuds that I've been a fan of on this entire card. It's been very simple. I mean, you look at Charlotte versus Becky Lynch, started off like that, and they had a simple build. It was all about the action in the ring, and then Sasha returned, and the feud, even with the 3 Divas, the feud stayed about the action in the ring, who was the best and who would be the best come WrestleMania. I've been a fan of the feud. Now, I will say this: WWE better be real careful with the placement of this match. Going back, and stick with me, going back to WrestleMania 25, I remember Triple H saying that he didn't want to follow, or that he couldn't follow that great Shawn Michaels and Undertaker match. It really put a damper into the main event with Triple H, Randy Orton, even though that was a bad match. But it put a damper into it because the crowd was dead. Like, they were out. And they were done. So, lately, WWE has been putting these nothing matches, like, and they've also been putting Divas matches right before the championship match at WrestleMania to cool down the crowd, to give the crowd a break. And they better be careful here, because I think this match is going to be extremely good. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 25, but this isn't going to be your typical, let's just throw the Divas out there to cool down the crowd match. These three are different. If you've watched them come up in NXT, you've seen the type of matches they put on, and arguably some of their matches have been better than the men on the roster of NXT. And I can see that happening at WrestleMania. This match can be better than some of the matches that the men put on at WrestleMania if they give it a fair amount of time. And I think we'll get an excellent match. We'll get great spots, and all three women know how to wrestle, which is a great thing for once. In the end, I think that this will be the crowning of Sasha Banks. She'll finally have her moment as the boss, no pun intended, of the Divas division. She'll win, and it'll be a great match from 3 of the 4 horsewomen. Sasha Banks will be your champ, and I think the Divas division really will be kicked off once she wins. Alright, moving on, we have the no-holds-barred street fight between Brock Lesnar and Dean Ambrose. Now, they are not billing this as a main event, but I consider it to be one of the main events in my opinion. Alright, this feud has been pretty good, to say the least. It started off on a bang with Brock Lesnar throwing Dean Ambrose into the limousine, and when that happened, I said, this is the unofficial main event. I don't care what else happens. And to an extent, I still feel that way. Now, going throughout the rest of the build, I think it was really hurt some by the Roadblock pay-per-view, as this feud got put on the back burner because Dean Ambrose was facing off against Triple H, and Lesnar was facing off against Bray Wyatt and Harper. So it kind of lost its luster just a tad, but it did pick back up. And one of the best things that I've liked about this build is that Dean Ambrose has received signature weapons from Mick Foley and Terry Funk. He's got the barbed wire bat and the chainsaw. And I mean, it's just hilarious thinking that the finish can be Dean Ambrose chainsawing Brock Lesnar, but I digress. But I think it's been a pretty cool moment to see him share the stage with those two hardcore legends. I liked what I saw this past Monday night as Paul Heyman does what only he can do in setting up this match and building this match as the best thing that's on the pay-per-view. I thought it was a great job, and I also like the fact that when Dean Ambrose interrupted, it wasn't by a verbal spouting off or anything. He just came down to the ring with his wagon, he grabbed some weapons, and he left. He left that little bit of doubt in Brock Lesnar's mind, and I liked it. It came off perfect. Looking at this match, I'm not one of those guys that says, look, wrestling needs blood again. You know, it's not the same because there's no blood. But when I'm looking at this match and the way this feud has gone, I think much like Steve Austin versus Bret Hart, I think Dean Ambrose has to bleed like Steve Austin. Because when we're talking about that Bret Hart versus Austin match, we remember it for how great it was, but we remember that iconic image of Steve Austin with the crimson mask taking the sharpshooter. And it would be great to see Dean Ambrose going toe-to-toe with arguably the biggest force in the WWE. And I think they could just have a old school knockdown, drag out fight. I think this is going to be the most entertaining match on the pay-per-view if they just let them go out with no restrictions or anything. As for the finish, I'm one to say that Dean Ambrose needs to win this match. I mean, I know people like to say that Brock Lesnar's mystique might be hurt if he loses, but if Dean Ambrose can get a lucky roll up, you know, while Lesnar isn't looking, I mean that wouldn't hurt Brock Lesnar at all, and it would give Dean Ambrose all the credibility in the world. However, I don't think WWE is going to think like that. What I think they will do is that they'll have Brock Lesnar win this match, and that they'll hope that Dean Ambrose can come off like Steve Austin did back when he fought Bret Hart, that he'll come off as great even in defeat. And while that could be true, I don't like the fact that Dean Ambrose would lose this match on top of losing multiple other pay-per-views heading into this match. And I'd hate to see that Brock Lesnar would win this match and then go off into wherever on a forum somewhere until SummerSlam while Dean Ambrose is stuck in some mid-card feud after a loss. But I think that's what's going to happen. I think Brock is going to win here in a brutal match. Now we get into one of the co-main events, the so-called co-main events, and that is the Hell in a Cell match with Undertaker's career on the line as he fights Shane McMahon. Look, as with Brock Lesnar and Dean Ambrose, this feud started off with a bang with Shane McMahon's return. I mean, if you look at one of my earlier videos as I talked about this feud, the buzz around it was so exciting. I was so excited, even though it's Undertaker and Shane McMahon. It's not the greatest of matchups. The buzz around Shane McMahon's return was just excellent. And it had everybody wondering what would happen. And that first week was awesome with the promos with Shane and Vince. But after that, all of this just kind of went downhill. I mean, once it was announced that Undertaker would be fighting Shane McMahon, everybody wondered why. You know, why would Undertaker be doing Vince McMahon's bidding? And most people said at the time, you know, let's just see. You know, let's just give him a reason to explain. And the crazy thing about it is, we've had all of these weeks and it's never been explained why Undertaker would be fighting for Vince McMahon. And it's just one of those things that I have a tough time just overlooking. And as for the rest of the build with Shane and Vince, I mean, we've had some good back and forth between them. Shane has flubbed some lines, which has been pretty funny. But I don't know, it's just something with Shane and Vince that It's just something that I can't really get invested into. But looking at Shane versus Undertaker, the dive from the top of the ropes through the announce table was really nice. And that's something I think they should save for WrestleMania. But going to the match, everyone has their conspiracy theory hat on. And there are a lot of theories out there. You know, the Bullet Club may interfere. I've heard that one. Now, that's not an official spoiler or anything. That's just like talk amongst fans that, you know, it'd be nice for the Bullet Club to debut. Or Sting could get involved in this one. Or Shawn Michaels can get involved in this one. That's a lot of theories out there, and everybody's just waiting for the run-in. Nobody's expecting quality out of this match, I think. And, you know, the only sell on this match is the spots that may happen from the Hell in the Cell, and, you know, what can they pull off? Everybody's excited about that. They're wondering what they can pull off, and it's going to be interesting. I guess just like the Sting Triple H match from last year when DX and NWO got involved. It was overbooked or whatnot, but it was still fun, or funny at least. And I think we could have some fun or funny moments in this match as well. Also, don't overlook the fact that John Cena can interrupt in this match. As for the finish, I'm gonna go against conventional wisdom, and I'm gonna go with the Undertaker in this one. And here are the reasons why. First, I think that this will not be Undertaker's last WrestleMania. Also, I remember hearing Vince say that if Shane took over, he said something to the effect that the Authority would be fired. I think that it wouldn't make sense for Roman Reigns or Triple H to win the title and then have the Authority fired from Raw if Shane wins. I mean, I just don't see that happening. There's going to be some kind of falling out after Triple H and Roman Reigns' match. So I couldn't imagine Shane winning and Triple H going away. So in the end, while it would be really cool to see Shane take over Raw and give it a new feel, a new look, that would be awesome. That would be great. I just think that Shane's only here just to give WrestleMania a marquee match, and that he'll be here and that he'll be gone by the time this match is over with. Last but definitely not least, we have the World Heavyweight title match featuring Triple H and Roman Reigns. The latest posters have revealed this match to be a no disqualification match, so let your conspiracy theories begin. Looking at the build to this feud, I mean, I'll start back at the Royal Rumble. Before the Royal Rumble even started, I said that WWE better watch out. And I've been on this campaign or whatnot, if you look at my Twitter timeline, for quite some time. I said that WWE better watch out, because if Triple H eliminates Roman Reigns in this Royal Rumble, he's gonna get a face pop. And the last thing WWE wants is for Triple H to be over as a face in this feud. And sure enough, Triple H eliminated Roman Reigns. The crowd went insane, and Triple H went on to win the title. Now, throughout this build, we start with the beatdown of Roman Reigns from Triple H. And as Triple H was bashing Roman Reigns' head into the announce table, once again the fans were losing it, and they were going crazy for Triple H. And Triple H was just hamming it up, crotch chopping and everything. And I mean, I was excited for this feud, but for all the wrong reasons. Let me replace that. I love the crowd revolt. And people say that the crowd is just picking on Roman Reigns, but in my estimation, we are not picking on Roman Reigns. We are picking on the way WWE has booked Roman Reigns. And once again, they've overlooked a more promising wrestler in Dean Ambrose for the main event for Roman Reigns, which they've booked as their next John Cena instead of being the next Roman Reigns. And that's going horribly wrong. Now, in recent weeks, Roman Reigns has come off as the no-nonsense person that we remember, but like I've said before in a recent video, it's kind of too late to get him over like that, because the fans have made up their minds that Triple H is the face in this feud. And in these recent weeks, it's been quite sad to see what WWE is, the lengths that WWE is going through to make Roman Reigns as the compassionate face. They've had Triple H come out and run down the fans week after week, and I mean, it's just like Triple H is out there pandering for boos and jeers these recent weeks, and it's just pathetic because Triple H is one of the better heel promo guys in all of wrestling, in my opinion, right now. And he's just basically pandering out there for boos. And while he'll get them to boo, it's like clockwork. Every time Roman Reigns gets in that ring with him, they realize that, okay, Roman Reigns is the bad guy here. And they start booing Roman Reigns. So WWE has done a horrible job. And they are very stubborn in the fact that they will not let this Roman Reigns deal end. Like, you see the crowd is booing him. Stop trying to get him over as a face. Give the fans a reason to boo him. And looking at the past couple of weeks, Roman Reigns has just come off as a heel. He's attacked Triple H in the limo, in the truck, shall I say. He's attacked him, tried to beat him down, and Triple H tried to escape. And Roman Reigns came off as a heel. He beat Triple H down before that. Triple H tried to escape. And, Roman Reigns just really came off as a heel. And that's just bad, as the fans are already booing him. And they are trying to get him over as a face. But in some weird way, it's coming off with him looking like a heel. And I've said this before, either WWE is that stubborn, or they are unintentionally building to the biggest heel turn since Hulk Hogan at Bash at the Beach. And I mean that in the fact that it'll be the most elaborate heel turn since Hogan at Bash at the Beach. Maybe not the biggest, but it'll be huge. Now, looking at the match, we all have our theories. Now, I've seen the fantasy booking theories come left and right, and they've been tremendous. Everybody thinks that Reigns should turn heel here, and for me personally, I think it would be awesome if you had Reigns win here and then turn heel, or you can have him do heelish actions within the match to win, and it would be awesome for him to just win and just give it to 100,000 people. I think that would be a great close to the show. You either have him turn heel in the match, or you can have him turn heel against Dean Ambrose, and that would have just come off well. However, I don't see that happening. That would be awesome. That would be great. But I think that WWE is dead set on Roman Reigns as being the next John Cena. And that is very unfortunate, as the fans just will not accept this guy's face anymore. But WWE caved last year. But I think this year they're just going to be stubborn and say, this is what we want, and we'll have it our way no matter what you think. And in the end, I have Roman Reigns either winning with the Superman punch or the spear. I'll go with the Superman punch. He'll win. He'll get the 1, 2, 3, and the fans will just shower him with boos. I think if I know WWE like I think I know him, they'll have Dean Ambrose come down, and they're gonna try to calm down those boos by having Dean come in and hug him, and they can raise hands as the confetti comes down. But Dean is gonna get booed like The Rock got booed at the Royal Rumble that year. That was last year where The Rock got booed. He's gonna get booed by association with Roman Reigns. And unfortunately, I think that's how we'll close the show. Well, that's it for this WrestleMania preview and prediction show. One other thing I'd like to throw in is that The Rock is appearing at WrestleMania. I mean, for weeks now, I don't know what in the world he's gonna do. He's been running one commercial, and I mean, I don't really have a prediction on that one outside of The Rock being entertaining and riling up the crowd, getting excited, and it should be fun, but I have no idea what he's gonna do. But that is it for this special. And I'd also like to say that you can feel free to follow me on Twitter at SwissKnife87. I'll try my best to live tweet WrestleMania as it happens, so that should be fun. And also feel free to subscribe to this page. Like this video, and also comment. I love to talk wrestling with wrestling fans, so feel free to comment. Thank you very much.